Welcome to my new podcast, my new visual podcast on YouTube. It's going to be called Music Mayhem. We're going to be doing a little bit of singing, a little bit of playing, a little bit of DJing, and lots of talking about industry-related topics. So a little bit about the podcast first, before we get into it. First of all, my name's James Gibby. I'm a native of Cape Town, South Africa, and I've been in the music industry full-time for 39 years or something. No, it's actually more than that. It doesn't really matter. I've got a few bees in my bonnet, and I want to talk to you about them. First of all, I'd like to thank my sponsor. The sponsor, can you see that? You just about see the label on that. Oraga Tequila is the sponsor of this podcast. So we'd like to say thank you to Oraga Tequila. And today's topic is going to be tribute shows. Sugar man, won't you hurry? 'Cause I'm tired of these scenes. For a blue coin, won't you bring back all those colors to my dreams? Silver magic ships you carry, jumpers, coke, sweet Mary Jane. Yeah, so the topic of tribute shows. Should we do them? Should we not do them? Should we just let them be? What's the point of doing a tribute show? And how should you do a tribute show? This is the thing. Okay, so it depends. It depends on who you're paying tribute to. And I believe that we should be doing tribute shows. So we're just gonna fade that out. There we go. Now we can talk a little bit. We'll bring the looping back in a little bit later because there's a lot to say. And as you can tell, I'm doing this on the fly. I am not pre-recording anything. Well, I kind of am pre-recording it, but I'm not going to edit it. I'm just going to put a little bit of subtitling in there. And that is going to be the video. I'm going to be putting it out every Wednesday at 6 p.m. Greenwich Mean Time, which is 8 p.m. Central African Time. I'm not sure what it is in other parts of the world. You guys are going to have to figure that out for yourselves. Yes, but let's talk a little bit about tribute shows. We need to talk a little bit about, first of all, should we do them? I believe that you should do them with good intent. Okay, so you need to know what you're doing, and you could do like a 60s tribute show or a 70s tribute show. Those are good. Those are good money spinners, actually, as well. I remember when I was starting out trying to make a living as a guitarist, tribute shows were a good way to do it. There were several tribute shows running, and I played guitar in several of them. And I think that, they were very entertaining. They were very choreographed, and you played the same songs every night, and it was a particular thing. People used to come, to watch, and they wanted to go home with some kind of feeling of nostalgia, and that's okay if you're into that sort of thing. I'm not particularly into that sort of thing myself. I am somebody who kind of looks to the future for inspiration and entertainment. But yeah, I mean, a lot of people do want to feel young, and they do want to feel like, they get that feeling when they hear the songs that they grew up with. I can tell you right now that for me, I remember the lyrics much more easily to the songs that I grew up with. So, the songs of like the 70s and the 80s, you can tell I'm not a spring chicken anymore, but that's how I grew up. And the lyrics to those songs come much more easily to me than songs from the present time. People always say as well, and we're going to deal with this on a future video, people always say that there is, people my age like to say, oh, there's no more good music. They're always complaining about the music from today, but that is utter nonsense. Of course, there's fantastic music available today. You've just got to dig a little deeper for it, because the sheer volume of music with all the easily accessible recording software that we have today, it's much easier to make an album. So obviously there are many, many more albums, and the population of the world has increased by, I think it's probably something like 13 or 14% since I was a kid. So yeah, that's why we have to dig a little deeper for good music, for good songwriting particularly. Okay, so there are two types of tribute shows as well. There are ones that are surely and purely for entertainment, and then the other ones are for proper tribute, what I would call proper tribute. So I'm involved in a tribute show to Rodriguez at the moment, and we really are trying to highlight how his music influenced us as kids. Now, if you want to see the tribute show, you'd have to come along to the Alma Cafe in Cape Town on the 25th of November, or Baran's in Green Market Square in Cape Town on the 9th of December. But I'm not really here to punt it. We're going to talk about tribute shows and the different types of tribute shows. So initially you could choreograph it. You could put a band together. You could make sure that the songs sound exactly like the record. You could script it, and you could keep it pretty rigid, do it the same way every single night. I've been involved in those kind of tribute shows, and they are pretty good on the whole. Well put together. The musicianship is good, and the voices are good, the harmonies are good, and it's a feel-good vibe. But now, I was thinking on Sunday, with Sunday just passed, that I was at a tribute show for a very, very well-known Cape Town saxophonist called Winston Mankunku Ngozi. The tribute show was at the Star Theatre, and it had been put on by the Mankunku Ngozi Foundation. Put together a group of musicians. There was 3 hornmen, keyboards, bass, and drums. And they played the music not exactly like the record, because there were no voices, and Mankunku always used to put voices on his records. Singers, like little choirs and things. It was a very nice touch, which was absent. So what they did was they chose the songs really well. They played them the way they play them, and each of the hornmen told stories about how Mankunku had influenced them when they were growing up, told anecdotal stories about when they played with Mankunku or the first time they saw him play. And it was a very, very beautiful experience going along there. Brought back a lot of memories for me, so it did cover the nostalgia thing. And it also covered what I am going to call the sincerity thing. Okay, so we're not putting a tribute show on just for bling and entertainment. We're putting it on for sincerity. And when we put the Rodriguez show together, we decided that we were going to concentrate on that angle. Going to make the show flexible. We're not going to script it. Each of us is going to tell a story about how Rodriguez influenced us when we were kids, when we were growing up. I have to tell you, here in South Africa, he freed a lot of minds. I don't think he was very well known. In fact, I know he wasn't very well known in Detroit, where he comes from. But here he was a massive hero, man. He was bigger than Elvis. He was bigger than the Rolling Stones. And everybody had his Cold Fact album. So there was no getting away from it. And I think also that, there were several musicians and different people influenced different, youngsters were influenced by different people. I was influenced by Hendrix. I was influenced by the Beatles growing up in that era. It was Led Zeppelin and Cat Stevens. So people sort of in my age group will remember those, those satellite artists as well. But the point is that we wanted to relate some sincerity, and we wanted to bring some sincerity into the show, and we also wanted to keep the show flexible. And that, to make a point, I'm not trying to punt my own show, although I am. I'm not going to lie to you. But that is the other kind of tribute show, the kind of tribute show that actually has some kind of genuine sincerity behind it. It's not also, it's a particular artist that you're paying tribute to. So I've been in several tribute shows like that. Many years ago, there was one to Billy Joel. We did a Billy Joel tribute. More recently, we did a John Fogerty tribute. But then I've also played in a lot of tribute shows that are general 60s and 70s tribute shows where they take a selection of songs from various artists and they put them together. And I think, you know, the primary motivation being to entertain, to evoke nostalgia, and that's okay. So the music that you're going to hear on this podcast is not going to be from the original because I don't want to get demonetized. You'll hear this kind of thing. He's just gone wrong. You'll hear this kind of thing all the time, where I'm going to take a loop station and I'm going to loop it, and I'm going to do one of these things on looping, but basically. And I'm going to control the volume with my foot. Like that. So you can bring the loop in and out, and I might do a little bit more of that song before I leave you all. So yes, Music Mayhem is going to be every Wednesday, as I've explained, 6 p.m. Greenwich Mean Time, 8 p.m. Central African Time. This is the first one. It's going to be fairly short, and of course, again, I want to thank Oraga. I want to hold the bottle so that you can see the logo. Wait, bring it in. Yeah, there we go. Not quite. But can you see? Oraga. I'm going to find a bottle to put in the corner of the screen. We get a logo from them and put it in the corner of the screen. So yeah, so thanks very much, and thanks very much for tuning in. I hope you have enjoyed my first episode. Silver magic ships you carry, jumpers coat, sweet Mary Jane. Sugar man, you're the answer, makes my questions disappear. Sugar man, 'cause I'm weary of all those double games I hear. Sugar man, sugar man. I'll see you all next Wednesday, same time, same place.